What's going on, everybody? Gustav the 13th here with another video from the Vault of Asian News Summon. We actually have the RF Dom here, a 650 General with space compatibility here for the week of the 3rd of April 2025. Let's delve into this because right off the bat, I'm glad that we have another RF suit. There's certain things that feel like it's missing, and there's some other decisions that they've made that seem a little bit off. And overall, it's a bit more of a broader brush when it comes to that kind of stuff. But let's take a look at the weapons. We have the beam launcher, so another focus required. It's 0.8 seconds, which feels fast until you're actually in a match, in which case it feels slow as shit. Because you can't be moving or boosting or doing anything before you actually initiate it, and you have to also be neutral standing to actually let that shot loose. On the beam saber on this, 2600 damage, decent kind of melee patterns for the downswing as well as the neutral. I'm on the Vulcans, so these ones are 160 damage, ammo of 40, and range of 175, so not super reaching, but 20 shots will stun most things without damage control on them. The beam shower is interesting, mostly because it should just be a double kind of shotgun city beam situation here. And it doesn't seem like they let it have a good amount of accumulation per beam just because of the way that the pattern works. But you can charge this and just get a solid stun out of it as well. Moving on from here, we also have the Dom beam rifle, so very similar to the one that I want to say the RF Zaku has. So single shot stun, it has a burst, all of them stun on the burst for that. It's an ammo type here. And then the more unique thing for this is the grenade launcher system on the back. So we have one pod that has just regular munitions. These are guidable, by the way. Both of these pods you can also fire while boosting. The other one being incendiary, they are dumbfire rounds, and they're really just there to put on a dot for 400 a pop on there for the tick. Overall, pretty promising kit. We're starting to see some people do some pretty good flow with it. But despite everything, there's some things that we're going to get into for the skills in a second. But first, let's check out the stats. So 27k health on this bad boy. Ballistic resistance is 28, beam resistance is 30, melee resistance is 24, range strength is 34, and melee strength is 33. So as you can see, pretty even keel defense, pretty much almost identical range and melee defense, and that is kind of the issue right out of the gate when it comes to this suit. It is too just whatever. It is too even keeled. You can kind of guide it one way or the other, but especially because the slottage, again, pretty even. Going down the movement speed is at least at 145, pretty promising for the baseline, but it is a scooty suit, so there is a little bit of, not latency, but like a little bit of scoot back and forth for the balancing on this. Top speed of 220, thruster gauge is 75, and a turning speed is 72, so pretty responsive all the same. And like we said, pretty even keel on the part slots, so close, medium, and long are 15, 18, and 15. So for the laundry list of skills, a lot of these are just things you would expect to see on any suit, one way or the other. So Shock Absorber, Emergency Evasion System 2, so at the very least it does have 2 roles on it. Flight Control Program 3, Anti-Blast Stabilizer, Optimized Cooling Efficiency, so the initial thruster consumption is reduced by 10%. High Performance Balancer, High Spec Ambac, Melee Combo Controller Level 1, Maneuver Armor Level 1. Force Injector Level 3, Enhanced Tackle Level 5 for plus 200% to attack and plus 30 to distance covered. I mean, if you jack this up into the direction of melee, then that's not too bad. But in general, I don't know how much you can really hope to get out of this, but it does play into something else that you can use it for. So, High Performance Radar, Explosive Reactive Armor. This one is interesting. It's nice that it has it. I would say there's maybe a handful of suits that it would really benefit from having this on, even though a lot of the ballistic rounds and stuff that you're going to be taking here, typically not splash based. A lot of them are centered on the mobile suits, thinking about the Zwei and things like that. And especially just the fact that there's just so much beam heavy shit going on. So like reduces reaction to hit when ranged attack that causes explosion. Not kind of not here nor there, but damage control 1 at the very least, intellect special buffer level 4, so 35% on the leggies, which is good because they're fucking huge. Now, that tackle kind of plays into the fact that we have EX boost level 3, so touchpad ability to boost mobility for 20 seconds. You get a good fistful of tackles out of this, which isn't super awful. Obviously, you're probably just going to be doing your downswing and then moving on to the next target, but possibility also very good for stalling and or escaping. Moving on, we have the enhancement list here. So we have +1 to ballistic defense for the first one, +1 to anti-beam modifier for the second. The third is a +1 to range strength. Conflicts expansion slot at the very end here for 2480. The ballistic resistance for the first unlockable for +5, and then +5 to range strength in particular. This one they're leaning more towards range in general with this setup for 7440. Let us bring this bad boy then into practice to show off the particulars and talk a little bit more about its general just behavior and performance. Alrighty. So, like we were saying, not too bad in the charge. Feels a lot worse in practice. They got there for the instant stun on this. I'm not gonna do it on these guys, although I will say, and I will argue that there's a lot of suits that do have damage control that this is gonna factor into, and so we'll do it on both. But this one doesn't, so 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 of those get a stun out. The accumulation on the grenade launcher for the incendiary, kind of there, but not quite. It's mostly for the ticket, as you can see, that 400 per. The burst down on this. So 3 shots out of that, stunning and all that good stuff. The Vulcan guns, like I was saying, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, so 20 for the stun there. I'm gonna reload both of these. But in general, not too bad. The downswing on this actually has a lot of forward momentum, and it has a lot of good coverage depending on how much you swipe the body as well. Like, you can see how much it hits on the back end too, so you can actually get some pretty good passing cuts on people as well. Let's just really 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 6 or so. So pretty much almost the whole thing. So you can still do it. And like I said, both of these missile packs you can fire while on the move. Obviously the Vulcans too. And I would say that's the bigger thing. You have 3 different weapons that you have the ability to use with forward momentum. And then we have the beam shower, which is a little bit of a mixed bag. I'm actually going to try something that I didn't try before, and I'm going to get like pretty close. Yeah, so it looks like even with suits that have damage control, as long as you can really just grind yourself up there and make sure that as much of that makes contact as possible, you can kind of get a good shot in there. Now, as you can see, this also does charge. No piercing on that, unfortunately. I am a little bit curious about something. And something that I'll mention as well while we're making our way over here is that this is another suit where I'm a little bit surprised, considering the other things that can fly, that this does not have any sort of flap to it, especially when it's part of the RF line. And in particular is a lot more based on mobility and not really commit stancing as much as the goof with the cables and all that. Oh wow, it just let that go. Yeah, it's pretty nice though. That being said, it at the very least does have the aerial control and all that good stuff. And as you can see, they're almost 5k on a type of advantage suit. Decent output in general, several stuns to work with. Moving on to the base here. The beam burst out of there, not bad. The missiles can do some work on there as well, mostly just the main ballistic ones, not so much the incendiary. Overall, a very remarkable suit for how unremarkable it is in some regards. Although I'm sure there are some people who are going to put really good like speed builds on here and try to use as much of that momentum as possible to almost just full on like raid with it. You know, troublesome with the missile tilt, getting some fire dots in there, and then just coming in for big swipes while moving on to the next target. The only thing that really seems to slow down the momentum of this suit is the fact that this is a charge to fire. And of course we have the EX boost in here as well. Not bad. You can get a handful of tackles out of this. 2146 on this bad boy here for type disadvantage and all that good stuff. Obviously you're probably not going to tackle somebody to death, but again, you can use it for rolls, you can use it for tackles, you can stall a decent amount one way or the other, or just use it to continue your tilt with all the missiles and Vulcans that you want, right? A lot of good forward movement with that, one way or the other. But it's kind of hard to say much more about it. This is a pretty straightforward suit, and we do have a couple matches, and I'll be putting one of them for you guys to check out right around here. I'm definitely doing. It seems like we did not get swept away by floods today, so that's good. They're saying that, and we've been having it rain like for most of the night. But the storm never really got super bad here, so we maintain power and all that. Knock on wood. 600 support. Wait, 600 for support for what? The wing zero? Yeah, I did see the direct today. I'm definitely excited for Legally Distinct Bloodborne. Yakuza Zero Director's Cut, having extra content and stuff. I mean, it's a director's cut, but I kind of underestimated how much they were actually going to add to that. And it seems like that version's exclusive too? There hasn't really been any mention of it being on other platforms yet.
The mobile suit isn't looking so hot.
YouTuber comment. Alright, there should have been a 600 support. I don't know about that. It does make you wonder. Like, maybe, right? Because it could have been a good one for... kind of like how the Dom Heavy Arms is. I can see that. Because I feel like, at the very least, it doesn't really serve well as a general. Because there's already too much shit here that does what it does better. And again, while also being able to friggin' fly. I cannot stress enough how important that is. In a cost range that's slowly but surely becoming, I'm getting tired of looking up. This thing has to look up. And that sucks. Oh my god, just please. And of course, then because we did that in EX boost, it doesn't give me anything back. No joke, I figured it'd be a support too, yeah. And it seems opportune, right? Because it's got guided missiles, it's got a fire dot. It has an extra charge stun out of the titty beams. It's got the kit to be one.
Okay.
But again, they also have, what is it, the Overon that just dropped, like, more officially the other week. But at this rate, all of the RF suits are going to be either raids or generals. There's not going to be a support one, like, solidly. Because there's no way the camper is going to be a support. That'd be some bozo shit if it wound up being the representative support. That would make 0 sense for that suit.
An ally is requesting. We've lost an allied unit. Big hit. Ally destroyed an enemy mobile.
No.
The mobile suit isn't looking so hot.
Oh my lord. Help me.
Your mobile suit has been destroyed.
And again, case in point, Denon's on. Infinitely better.
Long-range support fire incoming. Supporting fire complete. Your supporting fire failed.
Said rain and gem, but no support, so just saying most likely will. Oh no, it's gonna be support.
Okay, let's give it another.
This song's really good, dude.
Ally has destroyed an enemy mobile.
I don't even remember what this is from. Kill him, kill him, kill him.
Going our way.
That X guy. I haven't seen him yet. Maybe he just did and I didn't notice. See, that's something that's dangerous, because, like, those missiles weren't enough to stun him. He's got so much forward tilt stun resistance that I don't think I can do that unless he's just standing still.
Big hits.
Even then, that's a risk. Oh. I can spam him down, but that's about it.
Looking so hot. Ally destroyed an enemy mobile suit.
Oh, you finished him quick. No!
Your mobile suit has been destroyed. An ally is requesting support.
They were cooking with the 13. They really were. Hamazu, who did the stuff for Frontier 2 and all that, was cooking.
An ally has
And apparently he cooked so hard that they were like, oh no, you're gonna be on the 7 remake team. And then he fucking cooked even harder with a bunch of those tracks. Like, just let him be there. Let him do shit. I think the other frustrating thing is that, like, because this thing's offense is so balanced, it's kind of unremarkable in that regard, unless you really tilt one way or the other, but it's definitely easier to tilt, I think, for melee. Which is funny, because a lot of the combos that we're seeing right now are more so steeped in doing your stuns into missiles into other shit. Oh my god, I'm getting beat up. Ew. Fuck. Fuck. I really need to start busting out EX a little bit more though. Renzi is sucking. Oh no. XP, do not die. Do not want to hear you spamming if you die. Why does one a pilot like a bozo? Oh, they clashed on each other.
Okay, let's give it another go. Time's up.
Also, something that's a little weird
Mission accomplished. You and your crew did
is that the secondary beam gun, it looks like it has a grenade launcher on it, but you can't use the grenade launcher. It's a little weird to me. I wonder if the one on the Zaku is like that too.
Here are your rewards from the battle.
That one wasn't much better. So that was our match in the RF Dom. Overall, considering the sort of other suits that are at this cost range, like the Denanzan, the prototype Double Zeta is still causing a lot of trouble. The other supports and stuff that just got adjusted that are making a comeback, and just other suits that are more easily accessible, like the Toad's Ritter and other things like that for the general line. This is a suit that I can't really recommend you go and run out and try to roll for, but it's also not bad. And that's kind of the issue with this game, is that there's a lot of stuff that's not bad, but it ain't great. You'll probably see one or two people have some interesting highlight reels with this suit, but it's not something that can consistently do shit like that just because of the other sorts of suits that it runs the risk of having to contend with. Some of the people on Andorias's showcase video over on Twitter were also saying that it's a nice suit, it's kind of okay, it's hard to judge the performance just because 650 has so many great suits, and in general the consensus is becoming that this shouldn't have been a 650 suit, this should have been a 600 suit. Some people are also saying that maybe it would have did better, especially with how much of the midline range kit that this had, if it was more of a Dom heavy arm situation and was actually a support instead, considering that none of the RF suits have really hit the support line quite yet. And the future ones like the the camphor and things like that don't really seem like they would lend themselves well to that situation either, and if they did, they would be heavily taxed. With this one, especially because it doesn't have flaps, you know, it just kind of has straightforward mobility. They could have kept this mostly the same, just kept it the same priority, and just changed its typing, and it probably would have been fine and doing a little bit more better for itself in some ways. I don't think that would have been unfair for it to do. Now, at the same time, I think they're very shy about doing that because they still haven't really solved their situation with the PZZ, the Red Zetas, and all this other bullshit that's been running around, and they're not really being put in check at all. Right? It just keeps escalating at 650. Obviously, the solution then would have been to just put it at 600, but they inexplicably didn't do that. Still, not a bad suit. Pretty honest, which in a game like this is kind of problematic for itself more so than anything else. But I'm sure we'll still be seeing it around. Whenever we do have Asian's account available for doing dailies during the week, we will be playing this as well. And you'll definitely be seeing them running around. Probably not as much as other suits that have come out in previous weeks, but it'll still probably be there one way or the other. But that is the long and short of it for the RF Dom. Like I said, not a whole lot to say, but still not an awful suit. We'll see what the next week brings here. And until then, I hope you guys have a good rest of your morning, night, whatever, and I'll talk to you all in the next video.